I got married very early in life. I got married when I was 22. 23, my son was born, and my son was born with a disability called Down syndrome. My son's skin condition, which was eczema, which kind of got aggravated during winters. Somewhere I saw that castle soaps really help, and I started creating soaps.
So you started making soaps, and Soapworks was the company, the first company that you formed.
Yes, 2019 was a turning point when my dad also helped me a bit in terms of figuring out how do we formalize this as a brand. So that was the time. So I converted my hobby venture Soapworks into Earth Rhythm. Benefit was selling the lip and cheek tint in India for 2,500 rupees for a 5 ml. So we cracked it to 499, 599 at that point of time. And the same 5 ml we were giving on the same formula. And interestingly, lip and cheek tint went viral for Earth Rhythm. Every day there are 5 or 10 new skincare brands, makeup brands that is launching in India.
Yeah.
Will all these brands scale? No. Celebrities are starting a brand. They should do what they're good at, which is endorsing. Deepika Padukone started a brand. She did everything all by herself.
She became the chemist.
Yes.
Then it won't work.
It won't. Today, young consumers are there. They don't have loyalty. Today they will buy Dot and Key. Tomorrow they will buy Minimalist. Day after tomorrow they will buy Earth Rhythm. They will keep on shifting.
So today we are meeting Harini Sivakumar, the founder of Earth Rhythm. Let's talk to her and understand her journey and learn from that. Hi, how are you,
Hi.
Harini? Such a
Doing
pleasure
good.
to
Thank
meet you.
Likewise.
Why don't we understand the beginning of Harini's journey?
I think my journey was rather a little different. So I studied to be a banker. I did my graduation in commerce, and then I did my MBA. Born and raised in the south of India, Chennai. The expectation was clear from the family, right? Like any typical South Indian Tamram environment where you're trained to think that, ki padai karo, MBA karo, get into that corporate rat race, 7-digit salary. The vision and the target is always very similar to us. And that's how my life even started. But I think along the way, my life had a different plan altogether. I got married very early in life. I got married when I was 22. So 23, my son was born, and my son was born with a disability called Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a genetic disorder which affects your cognitive ability, and it's a lifetime condition. And with that, I think my corporate dreams of getting into corporate came crashing down, honestly. So from there on, I think this was around 2010. From 2010 to 2016 or 17, I was a homemaker, traveling city to city, trying to figure, a lot of things for the family at that point of time. So let's be clear that entrepreneurship was not a part of my story at all. It just, I take pride in telling people that I was an accidental entrepreneur. It was not a part of my journey. It was not a part of my plan. But it happened because my life was such, right? So I landed in Delhi in 2015, and that was around the time when Delhi has extreme weather conditions. Summers are very hot, winters are very cold. Unlike down south where we have humidity, we have all through the year we keep sweating. So it was very different for me when I moved in over here, and that's when with my son's skin condition, which was eczema, which kind of got aggravated during winters. Winters leads to extreme dry skin, and my journey of building and creating some handmade soaps at home, somewhere I don't even know, I don't even remember where I picked up that interest, but somewhere I saw that castle soaps really help, and I saw some YouTube videos, and I started creating soaps. I think that was the starting journey of me figuring out to do something on my own, and how I landed in Delhi.
Okay. So you started making soaps, and Soapworks was the company, the first company that you formed.
Yes,
right? So what happened to that company?
So basically, Soapworks was a hobby venture I created. So even at that point of time in 2015-16, when I started making soaps at home, I really didn't aspire or think that one day it will become a brand. One day I'm gonna create something where a lot of people are gonna buy something from me. The idea was very simple. any hobby, for it to sustain, you need to monetize it. If you cannot monetize a hobby, it can't remain as your hobby because hobbies are expensive. So
Correct.
I started, probably slowly, because the Kida got a little too high into my head. I was like, okay, let's start selling these soaps because how much can you make? Ghar ke liye you can't make 1,000 soaps and use it, right? So ultimately, you need to sell these soaps.
Yes.
So I started selling it in small pop-ups, exhibitions. Delhi mein Saket mein pop-up hota tha. So I used to sell it in those pop-ups, and that's how I started, slowly building a small, tiny, homegrown venture called Soapworks.
Okay.
So and I come from a commerce background.
Okay.
I studied Bachelor's of Commerce, and creating soaps, creams, lip balms, lotions were out of my purview because these are all chemistry. So then I decided, okay, I have a lot of time in my hand. Why can't I just study chemistry? It's fine. So let me enroll for a course. So I enrolled for a course and I started studying chemistry. And then by 2017, I think that was the time when, I steadily started doing almost about 1-2 lakhs a month myself, just sitting at home.
Okay.
I didn't do any big investment.
Which year was this?
2017.
17.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I started selling I was just selling soaps, lip balms, very simple products, and I was easily making 1-2 lakhs a month. And that was the time when, things were, expanding. I moved to Gurgaon by then, and in Gurgaon, what I did was I just converted one room in my house as my studio, like a tiny room where I used to make, where I used to pack, where I used to shoot content, everything inside that room. And I think by 2019, I still remember when my dad was actually visiting. He was going to Kailash Mansarovar, and for him from Chennai, Delhi was a stopover. So he had come down to visit me, and he saw the house, and my house was like a war field. Like there was boxes everywhere. Ghar pura tel mein fisal raha hai. And my dad was like, what are you doing inside this house? And then I said, okay, I have a tiny venture. I make soaps, I sell soaps. The typical South Indian dad, he told me that, Harini, tumko kaam karna hai. I will babysit the kids. Why don't you go to a corporate? Go and do it. I said, no, this gives me so much joy. And after a lot of arguments with my dad, finally my dad decided to support me because he said, at least if you're not listening to me, let me jump in and help you do this business properly.
Yeah.
I think 2019 was a turning point when my dad also helped me a bit in terms of figuring out how do we formalize this as a brand. So that was the time. So I converted my hobby venture Soapworks into Earth Rhythm because my vision was very clear. See, today I think we say all these fancy jargons like product market fit, minimum viable product. These are all terms, jargons which investors use.
Yeah.
But in my case, that period of 2016 to 19 was my product market fit stage, where I was making products, where I was taking it to consumers. I was validating my idea with consumers. There were feedback that I received. I reworked on that feedback and I brought better products to them. Right? That's product market fit. So I did all of this organically, intuitively, without realizing this is how businesses are built, honestly, right?
Yeah.
And that happened in 2019. I was very clear. There were a set of people in our country who value more than what the product in itself is, right? Now I had a dream. I had whenever you start something, you have a vision, you have an inspiration. Now my inspiration was this brand called Lush. Lush is a global brand which exists in various countries now. They are very big on sustainability. And when I started, when I took inspiration from Lush, I created a lot of products that are very similar to Lush. And a lot of these people would come back to me from really far off places and buy one bar of soap for $500, one bar. And my dad used to be shocked and used to be like, Harini, do you think this business is even viable? Is it sustainable? A person will buy one bar of soap for $500 once, maximum twice. Where is the repeats? How will you sell this product? I said, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out along the way. But as on date, I'm finding people to buy my 500 rupees soap, so I will continue selling. I think that was the simple logic behind, rebranding it to sustainable name called Earth Rhythm and building the brand towards how we built around sustainability.
So Soapwork shifted to Earth Rhythm, or these are two separate companies?
No, it got rebranded to Earth Rhythm.
Rebranded, okay.
Yeah.
So whatever you were doing in Soapworks got transferred to this new company and more, right?
Correct.
Much more.
Correct.
And how did this name come to you, Earth Rhythm?
I think when we were trying to rebrand, the one thing that came very close to my mind was earth, the word earth. Because everybody, see, the one thing that I have realized is the simpler things are people are able to connect it very easily to a brand name, right? And that's the first thing that they notice when you are trying to sell a product. And if they can't, and if your brand cannot build that recall, then it becomes very difficult for them to understand what are you trying to say. Let's take very popular names today, minimalist. The name is so strong. What are they trying to solve? They're just trying to build very strong minimal skincare routine, but very giving you bigger results. The name is very strong, right? Similarly, earth rhythm was something that came out of a thought process of, we want to understand the rhythm of your life and make you contribute meaningfully to the environment without you having to put any effort into it. I think that was the whole idea behind building Earth Rhythm, ki understanding consumers' rhythm and building products around it. Like for example, you might be using a shampoo in your daily life.
Yeah.
Now, shampoo is not a luxury product. It's your daily, it's like a toothpaste. It's your everyday product. You might be using shampoo. Everybody uses a shampoo in their life. Now, can I replace that with a shampoo bar instead of a liquid shampoo and create value both for you as well as the environment? If I can give you a L'Oreal level shampoo in a shampoo bar format, consumers are more than willing to try it because without even having to put any effort, they're able to contribute. Right? So those are the kind of ideas that we bring about in Earth Rhythm. And that's how we thought of the name Earth Rhythm, like understanding the consumer's rhythm.
It's a very interesting, unique name for sure. But the next question that I have is, did this thought occur to you that this is a highly cluttered industry segment dominated by juggernauts like Unilever? How would I make my space?
Okay, I think one thing that I clearly understood after getting into this game was that D2C brands are not in a race with the bigger giants like the Unilevers, the L'Oreals, the Imamis of the world. No, they are not in that rat race. Honestly speaking, they are more threatened of D2C because today, India's population is probably 1.4 billion, and out of which 50% is still Gen Z and young millennials. And these Gen Z and young millennials have stopped going out. Ask them how many of them go to supermarkets to buy anything today. Blinkit. I use Blinkit 10 times in a day. Like, as and when I forget, all my essentials come through Blinkit. Quick commerce, e-commerce. These are the ways young consumers today are wanting to interact. Whether it is buying a gold jewelry or whether it is buying your grocery, everything comes from online these days. So with that thought process, these bigger giants, they are finding it even more tougher to crack and come into D2C because offline distribution is so expensive. It's time consuming, it's expensive, and smaller brands like us can't afford going offline at all because it is burning. There's a big cash burn over there. So, and hence, there's no competition between these bigger giants and us at all. We are in a two different space
Working
altogether.
in different space.
Yeah,
Totally
we are in two different spaces altogether. Now, within the D2C space, there is so much competition. Now, there is something called first mover advantage. Nykaa, Mamaearth, Wow, all these guys, they had a lot of first mover advantage. They came in at the right time. They actually were riding the thrust on when it was really the right time. They came on the wave and they caught hold of bigger share in the market. Now all the other people who came in, let's say Earth Rhythm, Dot & Key, other brands that came in later on, they were able to take market share here and there. But there was always first mover advantage that bigger brands like say Mamaearth took when they came in and they've taken the share. So the whole idea is timing over here. So you need to identify a space and are you in the right time? And if you're in the right time, you better crack the right strategy to acquire that market share.
So, when you were building this, did you had a brand, let's say a Mamaearth in your mind that, okay, they have cleared the path for us, now we can go on that path. Did you have any ideals?
One thing I genuinely believe is that bigger brands, let's say like Mamaearth and all, they have paved the way of putting a lot of money into educating consumers. right?
Yes.
Which small brands today can't afford.
Can't do, yeah.
Everybody can't put crores and crores into educating consumers.
And I think also another thing which I feel very strongly, because I have Mamaearth products sitting in my shelf, one of the things that they have done is they have created this renewed faith on D2C.
Yes.
People feel that I will not get cheated. Let me buy from D2C.
Yeah.
Earlier, if you remember, the phase 1 of D2C was people were not sure, and
Correct.
you know, all kind of brands were trying to sell things, and then they used to disappear. But this this new band of brands which came, they created this sense of
trust in consumers' mind.
Yeah,
Yes,
in consumers'
yes.
mind. I think that's a very big thing, because
Absolutely.
that's why when you see an Instagram ad for a new product, today you don't really shy away from buying.
Yeah.
Earlier you used to shy away because
I
you
tell
always
you,
used to think.
earlier what used to happen? Earlier, people didn't know whether if I get cheated today, if
Yeah.
my product doesn't come, how do I reach the company is the first thing that comes to their mind. Today, social media is so powerful. If somebody is not, a company is not living up to the consumer's expectation, you are called out.
Yeah.
You know, brands are scared of social media. We are extremely, we de-risk every social media risk that we have before we build brands, because we know that the social media is even more powerful, that if our product doesn't live up to the expectation, we will be called out, and that's a bigger risk to a brand.
Yeah.
So I think that has made it easy both for consumers to build trust and for us as a platform to even reach the consumers.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the categories and the products that you have in Earth Rhythm. What all products are there? What all categories you deal in?
So we started with heavy personal care categories like, say, shampoos, body soaps, and then we started going both horizontal, vertical, and we went into almost every category. One turning point for Earth Rhythm, very, very funny and weird, but everybody, they actually build their brand very strongly on one hero product. Right? Now, I built the entire thesis of Earth Rhythm on sustainability, which means our first product was a shampoo bar, where we cracked a bar format shampoo, which does not require water or a plastic bottle to hold it.
Is that the first of its kind?
Yes, yes. In India, we were the first surfactant-based shampoo bar. So your exact formula that is there in a liquid bottle, we cracked it into a bar format.
Okay.
So that was one of our hero products. But that was not how Earth Rhythm was known for. So there was this makeup brand called Benefit, and they launched a lip and cheek tint, and it went viral on social media back in 2019, 2020, just pre-COVID. And we were quick to launch an Indianized version of lip and cheek tint behind Benefit's hit, and we went into the market with the same formula, because Benefit was selling the lip and cheek tint in India for 2,500 rupees for a 5 ml. So we cracked it to 499, 599 at that point of time, and the same 5 ml we were giving on the same formula. Like, we cracked the formula. And one thing Earth Rhythm holds from day one is we own the manufacturing. We have a manufacturing setup in Gurgaon, and the manufacturing is controlled internally at Earth Rhythm. So all research, formulations, everything is internally made for us.
So this is not outsourced. This is your own
No,
factory.
we don't work with contract manufacturers. We have our own manufacturing.
That's a very big advantage you have.
Yes.
Against a lot of players, right?
Big gross margin benefit that we get.
Yeah.
And faster to marketability also. So with contract manufacturers, what happens is that your timelines are very long. 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year sometimes to launch a product. But with your own manufacturing facility, you bring down that time to 45 to 60 days.
Yeah.
That's the speed that you can build.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest advantage. But when we launched lip and cheek tint, it was completely controlled, and it was made in India in our own factory. So we were able to bring the cost advantage. And interestingly, lip and cheek tint went viral for Earth Rhythm.
Okay.
And it was not related to sustainability. The answer to, you know, what we actually solved for consumers with lip and cheek tint was, there was a product which was doing very well in the market. But Indian consumers are, let's say, each market has its own dynamics, right? Indian market is very price sensitive. It's very price sensitive. You need to be at a sweet price point for consumers to pick your product.
Yeah.
So we hit that target at 499, and we sold the same product which is selling at Benefit for 2499 in India, and that blew viral for us. And till today, almost 30% of our revenue comes from this one single product, which is lip and cheek tint.
Excellent. So what are the other products that you have?
So then there's another important thing that we learned along the journey was to catch trends early on, right? So there are two ways to build brands. One is you build a very strong philosophy and you build it very slowly. Now let's take one example, which is Forest Essentials. It was a slow journey. They were very clear in their positioning. They said that we want only the premium or the uber
Luxury
Ayurveda. Elite people to come and buy our products, and they're very clear about it.
Yeah.
And they did not dilute their brand. It was a slow journey. It took them 15 years to build the empire of Forest Essential and to sell it to Estee Lauder, right? Then there are D2C brands that typically works on what consumer requirements are, and we try to solve real-time problems for consumers. These are two different ways to build brands. Now you need to first make up in your mind what is that you want to do with your brand. And for me, it was very clear that I was building a brand for young consumers. I may have a very strong reason called sustainability why they need to buy Earth Rhythm, but the product in itself is, if it's not solving their real-time problems in day-to-day, they will not come and buy it at all. So my target was, while the product should follow the philosophy of sustainability, but the product should be relatable to consumers in day-to-day life. Now these products for young consumers, it changes so fast. Every year there is a new trend. Now there is matcha trend. Then back in the day it was hyaluronic acid. So suddenly it changes to something else. So you need to keep catching those trends.
Yeah, so that's where my question is. The next question before we go on to sustainability, which keeps appearing in this conversation, and I want to double click on that. But before that, I want to understand this trend stuff which is going on with most of the D2C brands, and that's what differentiates them with these bigger guys, right? These big guys don't follow trends.
Yeah.
So they have products which have been there for
Correct.
ages, and they continue with those products,
Correct.
and they're minor improvement. If they're very happy, they'll change the packaging, but
Correct.
they'll sell the same stuff,
Yeah,
right? That's how we've been seeing them behave over all these years. With D2C, I think what Zara used to do with apparel, now personal care brands have started doing all that, and
Correct.
there are always trends like Korean skin and stuff like that.
Yes.
My question is, how do you catch the trend, because there are so many trends appearing all the time?
Yeah.
How do you bet on a trend and say that this is something which will work for me? And have you failed in catching some of those?
So many trends we have failed. Yeah. So how we catch trends, I'll tell you. So trends don't come to India first. Trends first come to countries like
Korea, South Korea,
China, US. These are countries that catch trends faster. So, and then Europe, and then comes India and all other
Southeast
countries.
Asia.
Yeah, Southeast Asia comes much later. So when a trend first comes, like let's say glass skin, Korean glass skin, which came, first it happened 5 years ago in South Korea. And today in India, after 5 years, we have got glass skin trend in India, which means it's taken so much time to reach India, to bring that trend to India.
Okay, so I'm sorry to pause here for a minute, and for the benefit of millennial like me and so many of others who are not Gen Zs or Gen Y and Gen X, what exactly is glass skin? I've been thinking of asking this question from the right person. Now you're the right person. Tell me, what exactly is this glass skin?
So glass skin is, so you know how glass is, it looks shiny, spotless, and it's transparent, so you can see through. So basically the idea is to have a very spotless skin, which is, the glazed effect is what is called, glass skin.
Okay.
So in India, traditionally, mattifying was a big market. Matte lipstick, matte foundation, matte creams, everything was matte.
Yeah.
When suddenly glass skin came into the industry, glossy became a talk of the town, buzzword. Everybody wanted the shine that you have on your face. Your cheeks look flushed. It looks, there's a shine on your cheeks. That is glass skin effect.
I think earlier it used to be considered cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Matte is the premium one.
Yes. Matte used to be more expensive.
Yeah.
Now the market is shifting because people have started promoting glass skin as a more healthier version of your skin.
Okay.
Because for glass skin, you need to have hydration as the anchor in your skincare. For mattifying, you need to have silicons as an anchor. So,
Okay.
which is more beneficial for your skin? Silicon is any day more harmful to your skin. So, people started moving to glass skin effect, which is hydration.
So coming back to the question that you were answering before, how do you catch this trend?
Yeah, so basically, first, not all trends come to India, right?
Yeah.
Not all trends work for India.
Yeah.
So we need to really evaluate whether a country like India, there are so many factors that you need to take into consideration. One is climatic conditions, then people's mindset. Then the environment, the overall pricing strategy, does it work? Will the economy react to such a... And the last one is availability of resources, raw materials to make those products. These are four important things generally that we see before whether the trend will catch in India or not. Now, there are some trends that we tried catching even before it came to India and we failed. One was, I think, rosemary. It was a big fad all over US where people were using rosemary for hair fall, right? But what worked in India? Onion seed oil.
Okay.
Nobody knew rosemary for hair fall. People, why? Because the relatability for Indian consumers with onion is more stronger than rosemary. So we didn't. So although we launched a bunch of products in rosemary, what worked was onion seed oil for Mama Earth.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to, so that's a big learning, because when you are working with Indian consumers, not every Indian consumers will understand rosemary, but onion is something that they will understand because it is a part of their daily routine.
Yes.
Right? So that's how we figure out if trends are going to catch in India or not. The second thing is whether young consumers are able to relate. Today there is a big trend, even Earth Rhythm is trying to catch the trend, which is matcha. Matcha green tea. Everywhere people, they're trying to replace their coffees with matcha green tea. Everything, there is matcha latte. You go to Starbucks, you see matcha. You go to restaurant, you see matcha. There is matcha everywhere. That's the buzzword right now. Now, matcha caught up in India. Why? Because tea culture is quite big in India. It's natural to Indians.
Yeah.
Tea is a part of their routine. So just tweaking and bringing matcha in wasn't difficult. You're not telling them remove matcha and bring kombucha. Kombucha didn't work in India. Still, it's a very niche category in India. Kombucha still is, not so much well known as much as matcha did. Why? Because matcha is simply a green tea. Right? So things like that, relatability is very important. And we did a lot more things in the past, like we did tech-based skincare. And we invested a lot of money back in 2021. We launched a couple of products where we brought technologies like lamellar gel technology, which has a lot of research behind it as to how the product works on your skin. But it didn't work in India. Why? Because Indian consumers are so used to ingredients like chandan, uptan, all these, your garka.
Aloe vera.
Yeah, aloe vera. All these are their regular ingredients. Suddenly you come and say lamellar gel technology.
Doesn't cut any ice.
India mass audience won't even understand these things, right? You look at Fair and Lovely ad. Fair and Lovely, what is Fair and Lovely? Today, Ordinary, Minimalist, Plum, every brand is selling one product called niacinamide, if you've heard. 10% niacinamide serum, right? Today, niacinamide is known to every youngster. But we all bashed Fair and Lovely so much.
They had to change their name.
They had to change their name. But what was Fair and Lovely? Do you know? They had 4% niacinamide in it. But back in the day, had they come out and said 4% niacinamide, nobody would have bought it because nobody knows what niacinamide
Nobody
is.
cared actually.
Yes.
Those were different times.
But they played on what benefit consumers get. Your skin becomes brighter. It becomes fairer. They played on that.
So,
right?
to confirm your point and just to kind of dwell a little more on that, I think mindset has shifted dramatically. Earlier,
Yes.
people used to follow and revere the big brands and say that he's saying something, to theek hi hoga, let's buy that.
Yes.
Now, people immediately rush to Google or ChatGPT and
Yeah.
explore the ingredients,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that's why brands like Minimalist or Traya, for example, is trying to sell minoxidil. And
Yes.
they write minoxidil in a very big way, right?
Yes.
They don't want to hide what is there.
Yes.
The selling point has shifted from benefit or
Absolutely.
brand to the ingredient,
Yes.
because everybody knows that consumer is going to explore the ingredient themselves and then take a call, right?
Absolutely.
So that's a paradigm shift, isn't it?
It's a 360-degree shift because see, back in the day, all brands were built on aspirations.
Yeah.
You had celebrities endorsing products. You had Amitabh Bachchan, you had Shah Rukh Khan, you had everybody endorsing Lux soap, right? Why? Because women found it aspirational
Yes.
to buy a product that was endorsed by a celebrity.
And I
Today,
think nobody ever bothered to ask what is inside Lux.
exactly.
What are you selling?
Exactly.
It doesn't
Those
matter.
were aspirations.
Yeah.
Today, it is all information driven.
Correct.
Consumers, they want to research, they want to
Yes.
figure out, will this work for me? What is this ingredient? Is it good or bad? And they are exposed to so much information. Sometimes it's difficult for brands like us to even manage and
Yeah.
give them the right information.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword. It's
Correct.
good and bad. And today's youngsters, the minute they see a celebrity endorsing, they stay away from the product.
Yes, I've noticed that.
They stay away from that
And
product.
all these personal care brands now, the big ones even, they
Yes.
are staying away from celebs.
We build something called UGC content, user generated content. We want regular faces like you and me talking about the product because that's what is appealing to them, feeling that this product is genuine because she says she looks like girl next door and it works for her.
And that's a global trend. I think all the big
Yes.
brands have started shifting their budgets
Yes.
massively from celebs
Absolutely.
to,
Yeah.
these UGC kind of content. Now, coming back to, this trend catching behavior of brands. Now, how do you do that? Do you have a team who sits and analyzes the trends, and then let's say you see something happening in South Korea, then the team would, explore what can we do next, and then you would like to try
There are
something.
two ways how we do this. The simplest and the easiest way is our social media team consists of especially girls less than 22.
Okay.
Or maybe
Interesting.
just out of college.
Okay.
That's the best way to know what's running in their life.
Okay.
What are they using? What are
Okay.
they talking about? What are they seeing? What content are they consuming? So we track that. That's number one.
Okay.
The second way is there are these fairs that happen globally. China Beauty Expo,
Yeah.
Korea Beauty Expo, Cosmoprof, Bologna. So these events, these are big fairs that happen globally, where we as founders or as part of the team, we send people to these fairs to track what is happening globally. What ingredient is trending in Korea now? What is happening in Europe now? What is happening in US now? We go to these fair and we understand. And then we evaluate, is there anyone in India doing this?
Okay.
Is it possible to bring this product to India? Can we import it? Can we build it? Then we try to build it around here locally and see. But these are the only two ways. We go to these places or we simply track young consumers in our own offices. I have a mandate in my office. My social media team has to be less than 25.
Okay.
Only then we'll be able to track what they want. And they come and tell us, no, this is so boring. No, Gen Zs won't watch this. We'll have to
is mid.
change it.
They have different words
Absolutely,
also.
absolutely.
This is made, this is
Yeah.
not working. Okay, so you've been mentioning sustainability as one of the core pillars of your company. Let's talk a little bit about sustainability and how do you define it for your company?
Yeah. So sustainability for Earth Rhythm, we've come a long way. We've come, we've traveled a journey with sustainability. Initially, when I built sustainability as a core pillar to Earth Rhythm, we thought just going plastic free means sustainability. And then came a set of consumers questioning us as to, what really is sustainability? Do you think we just having glass is sustainable? No, not at all. Glass is the most expensive resource, and an influencer called us out. She tagged us, and it went viral on social media that this brand claims to be sustainable and is using glass as their primary packaging. How can they call themselves a sustainable brand? That was a point for me to take a pause and actually revisit what is sustainability for brands. If glass is not sustainable, what is sustainable? Paper? If I do paper, then consumers will come and say, "Arey, you're cutting all the trees. Where is it? Where is sustainability?" So you really cannot prove a point to consumers in terms of what sustainability is by doing any of these things.
But how did this idea come to you? Why did you think about sustainability as the core pillar?
So-
you could have simply gone ahead and said that I'm making great products, just buy it.
No, so there are two reasons to it. One, like the product market fit stage I told you between 2016 and 19 when I was a homegrown entrepreneur, I would have sold a lot of products, and most of these consumers would come back driving their car, coming to my house and getting a refill on the same packaging I sold to them.
Okay.
And that used to be very amusing to me. I used to
Interesting.
wonder, like, why would they do that? They could simply choose a easier path. I'll send them another product and they could go. But then I started realizing people really valued generating less waste. These were young consumers. They felt that, it's okay. I mean, I'm actually contributing something to the environment. And this was, for me, I'm a millennial. And for me, even for a millennial, it was quite different for me, difficult for me to accept that Gen Zs are so different from us. And then I started figuring out, okay, if that's the case, then today's younger generation are really passionate about what they contribute to the environment, what they contribute to the economy. Like one example, the recent Cockroach Janata Party that came out. That's such a big example as to how powerful today's young generation is,
16
right?
million followers in
in 2 days, 3 days. That's massive. So today's young generation, they don't mind breaking norms, and that gave me a thought process as to, okay, if sustainability is something they're really passionate about, like I said, that cannot be the only reason why they will buy a product. You need to stand out in the market. Now there is difference between solving real world problems and having core philosophy. These are not two same things. Now, sustainability for Earth Rhythm is a core philosophy. Now, everything that we build has to align with our core philosophy. But whatever we're building need not be just sustainable. It has to solve their problems.
So let's talk strictly in terms of actions that you take and how does it lead to a more sustainable future. What is it that you do?
So we've partnered with a lot of global NGOs. One of the biggest partner that we have is Repurpose Global.
Okay.
It's a US based NGO. So what they do with us is every year they conduct audit. So we might be using plastic, we might be using very expensive resources, can be, things like, we have a manufacturing unit. So the water disposal that we do, we are using, sustainability for us comes in different shapes, sizes and color. So what Repurpose Global does is they come every year and they conduct audit to see how much waste is going out of this company. What type of waste goes out of this company? It can be plastic waste, it can be e-waste, it can be water waste, it can be anything. What waste is going out of this company? And they put a value to it. Now, for example, plastic waste, they put 300 rupees per kg as a plastic waste. That's a big number. Now, if I have decided to align with Repurpose Global and if I am using 10,000 kgs of plastic in a year, imagine what amount I have to pump into the environment to actually neutralize that plastic. Right? So, hence, as a company, we become compliant and try to reduce our consumption also as much as possible so that we don't generate that waste. So now with Repurpose Global in the last 5 years, we have done several projects. We have done plogging drives, we have done clean projects, we have done Neela Asman, we have done several projects. During COVID time, we did even more projects with them to just drive the, basic hygiene. How do we, inculcate hygiene habits to consumers? How do we reduce waste, in consumers' day-to-day lifestyle? All of these things we started building. Now here, what happens, I will tell you. Basically, I just think that today's young consumers, they value reality over fakeness. Right? So if I am trying to tell them just plastic free, they are not excited. They don't want to believe sustainability as plastic free. They want to see brands in real action. Today I am going out in the market.
Journey.
Yes, they want to see in reality what is this brand doing to prove themselves as sustainable. That's where we changed our strategy and we started partnering with these kind of NGOs and doing projects that are more meaningful. Now, I am not lying to them. I am openly using plastic bottles. I am not telling you I am plastic free, but I am telling you I am responsible enough to neutralize what we consume.
Yeah.
That's the story.
That's a very valid point. Now, I have another question which is related to the scaling of your company. I've been seeing and reading about your journey. I think Earth Rhythm scaled very fast in a very short amount of time. What do you think was the core reason behind this rapid growth in an already cluttered, heavily cluttered market where hundreds of players are trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do? So what was the core thing that gave you this kind of impetus?
There are 2-3 things. One is product. Product has to be very strong. So we came into a very cluttered market back then itself, and today we don't even have to talk about clutter. There's no space left anymore. But back in the day itself, when I entered, already there was a lot of brands existing. And what really worked is differentiating yourself out of that clutter. When we brought a shampoo bar, like I said, everybody was selling a liquid shampoo. So we came out and said, look, there's a bar, and this is also a shampoo. So people started noticing, okay, this is something different. They are somewhere different. So I think that creates an impact when you stand out in a clutter. Your product needs to be differentiated. That's number one. Number two, I think, like I told you in the previous point, being real.
The brand has to stand for something.
Yes, being real and unfiltered in front of consumers brings far more value to the brand than creating a content, idealizing something and packaging something and giving to consumers. Like I said, today's consumers, they want to see you unfiltered. They want to feel personalization. Like people really, today's consumers, personalization is so huge. They want to feel like this is made for you, not as a whole. So that personalization is one important factor which really helps young brands to scale faster.
So those are the core things that help you.
Which we did right, I feel.
And how does your cap table look like right now? Who all are there? You got seed investors and then you got another round of investing. I read about that.
Yeah. So we raised one seed round of funding, I think in the year 2021. We raised $1.2 million. And subsequently in 2022, we brought in, I raised a Series A round with Nykaa coming in as a lead investor. We raised $8 million. And we saw participation from our existing investors as well. And I think that's where the journey ended. Post that, I think the journey was quite different, right? So you when you consciously make a choice to bring a strategic partner into your company, somewhere or the other, the whole philosophy of the company moves from a top line company to a bottom line company. So generally what happens with, when you have just pure financial investors is they look only at the top line. They look how fast are you scaling? Are you growing 5x year on year? This is what they are worried about. But when you bring a strategic player on board, they worry more about the bottom line, especially if they are listed companies. They want you to grow slow, be profitable, and grow organically. I think that's the difference in terms of how I went through my journey of bringing a financial investor and then a strategic investor. I think as on date today, thankfully, of course, my initial seed investor has now taken an exit, but Nykaa is our...
Nykaa continues to be your lead investor right now.
Yes.
One of the things that I was reading about is when you were trying to get your first investment, your due diligence became a major roadblock and challenge, and finally, it did not lead to any positive results. So can you tell us a little bit about that so people can hear and learn the core learning from there? If
that was a terrible journey for us, but I'll definitely sum it up as short as possible. But so when I was a very small company in 2020, when we started raising funding and all of that, right? See, Earth Rhythm was a company that was started from a kitchen, from a house. And my employees were, unskilled laborers who used to work with me to make those products, right? It was just me and my dad sitting and making products with these, labor force. And we were the two people who were putting it on the website, selling, and we put zero money in marketing, did everything ourselves. Then suddenly we had a plethora of investors coming and thronging on our door and saying, take my investment, take my investment, take my investment. And I wouldn't want to name, but I went ahead with one of the India's top leading financial investor today, who gave us a term sheet, and we went ahead and we thought we'll take an investment from them because it was prestigious. Number two, they were leaders in building D2C brands. So but when the due diligence process started, they appointed PwC to do due diligence, right?
Okay.
Now, for a company that is so small, which probably existed from your kitchen, obviously it is not, it's very difficult to maintain the way PwC would want to see your books of accounts, right? Like for example, my entire accounts was maintained in single entry bookkeeping. It was not even double entry bookkeeping. Now, PwC, when they came in, the first thing that they asked me was, where's your BOM? What is BOM? Bill of material. I'm like, okay, yeah, I gave them a bunch of ledger books, literally ledger books. And they were shocked. They were like, you don't even have Excel sheets? I said, no. Why? Because I have unskilled labor who can't use Excel. So I need to maintain my books of accounts, my BOM in books, right? Because they can write, but they can't do Excel. So these are real-time problems when you scale from such a small level and when you're growing. Now, that became a roadblocker for us because when big financial investors come on board, they expect you to have certain level of compliance, certain level of, ways of running the business, certain process in the company, which we did not have back in the day. And that led to a lot of roadblock for us. But I think along the way, we got to learn a lot around as to how we, maneuver that entire process. Thankfully, the next investor who came on board, which was Aniket Capital.
By then you were ready?
Yes, by then we were ready, and, they came in and they put the investment. And after that, the learning process is very different because when an investor comes on board, your network expands. Because the investor would have invested in 10 other brands and the founder network comes in to help you. So that becomes easier.
So if somebody is trying to build a D2C brand and, same journey like yours, what is it that you would suggest them to do if they are seeking investors to come and knock on their door the way it happened with you? What did you do to let that situation come? And what should they do if they are seeking investors and they don't have any clue? Like you didn't have any clue initially, but you figured it out. If they're looking at you as somebody who can help them figure this out, what would you like to tell them?
Only two things. Be present on social media everywhere because these investors, they try to see which is that brand which is trending today in the market. What are consumers talking about this brand or not?
You were doing that well at that time.
Yes. We had a lot of people talking about us on social media. That became a big plus point. Number two, we were profitable when investors came in. If you want investors to come and literally push you and beg you to take their money, you need to be profitable. We were not burning money. In fact, our first burn happened when investors came in. Until then, we were fully profitable. So these
they
are the
would
only
have wanted
two
you to
things.
scale faster.
Obviously. So you pump in more money into marketing. So that's the thing.
So let's zoom out a little and look at this industry, the skincare industry today. You've been here for about 10 years. How do you see this industry shaping up? What has fundamentally changed in terms of consumer behavior in last decade or so? Where is it going right now?
I think market is now consolidating, largely consolidating. All the
big ones acquiring the smaller ones.
The first, the thing that we started talking about initially over here was, the giants versus D2C. Now these giants, they were not able to build agile, quick D2C companies.
So the best thing they now realize is you buy it.
So consolidation is happening.
And they have
Unilever bought Minimalist, Imami bought Vedic. So every big brand now is consolidating and they're buying out brands. That's what is happening honestly today in the market. Now, it is cluttered from where it started. Today, every day there are 5 or 10 new skincare brands, makeup brands that is launching in India. And will all these brands scale? No. If you don't have a real strategy, if you are not building something which is very differentiated, consumers are not interested. There is a big case study on brands like Mars and Swiss Beauty, which are into core makeup, right? They scaled so fast. They scaled into 500 crores and, they grew so fast because they were not catering just the product to consumers. They were doing the pricing game over here. They brought kajal at 99 rupees. They brought lipsticks at 69 rupees. That worked for Indian market. Their audience were mass consumers. That worked in India. So today, if you want to crack, you really need to have either, if you're building a strong brand, your product and your story needs to be outstanding. On the premium side, I'll tell you, Indie Wild, there's this brand called Indie Wild. Deepa Koshla, who's a celebrity influencer who started the brand, her hair oil sells at $2,000 and it is flying off the shelf. It's just a hair oil. Why? Because she was not selling just a hair oil. She was selling the feeling of the essence of Gen Z to consumers. And that matters. So you need to really differentiate yourself, either cracking the pricing game or you need to build a brand like Indie Wild and you need to stay there selling a concept to consumers. If these two are not there, you don't survive today. People, because there is too many products out there in the market. You just take one ingredient, hyaluronic acid. There are 100 brands today selling hyaluronic acid.
Same stuff, different packaging.
Same stuff, different packaging, and consumers no more are loyal. Gone are the days when your parents and my parents and were using
Would apply
Colgate for their entire life.
Yeah, that Dabur parachute
Yeah,
oil.
they were using for their entire
100
life.
years.
One hammam soap for till they died. They were using it. Today, young consumers are there. They don't have loyalty. Today they will buy Dot and Key. Tomorrow they will buy Minimalist. Day after tomorrow they will buy Earthrism. They will keep on shifting. So how do you retain that customer? Is by reinventing and giving them that essence of your brand and selling that idea to them. That's the only way they stay with you.
Probably what you're saying is it has to be something little more than the product.
Yes, absolutely.
It could be sustainability as you're trying to do,
Yes.
or a human connection.
Yes.
They should feel connection with the brand.
Connected to your brand.
That's
if they
the only
don't
way
feel
they'll
the
come back.
connect, yes, they are not loyal at all. They
Okay.
don't want to stay.
Yeah, there's another very big trend which I see happening all the time. All these celebs. So Kirti Senan came with Hyphen. Priyanka Arora has her own, brand.
Katrina
and,
Kaif with
Katrina has her
KBT,
own.
yeah.
So some of them are selling, some of them have collapsed. So what do you think is, making the ones which did well, do well, vis-a-vis those who just collapsed?
I think this is my personal opinion, if celebrities are starting a brand, they should do what they're good at, which is endorsing. Right? The success and the failure, if you see on all these brands, is what role the celeb took in that brand. Okay. Now, K Beauty, Katrina has amazing screen presence, right? While Nykaa is holding the entire distribution for K Beauty, she has chosen to be the face of the brand and drive the brand. It worked. Kriti Sanon, the entire business is held by MK Fin founders, right? It's a partnership between MK Fin and Kriti Sanon. Kriti just stays as the face of the brand. It worked. Deepika Padukone started a brand. She did everything all by herself.
She became the chemist.
Yes.
Then it won't work.
It won't work. Let the leaders
You should define your role
Yes.
clearly, and then you should stick to that
Absolutely.
role.
Absolutely.
Don't jump in other shoes which you
Yes.
don't fit in.
Don't try to become an entrepreneur. You've built a brand equity for yourself. Use that to sell this brand.
That's a very good point, actually. And that's what clearly differentiates the winners from the losers, right?
Absolutely.
And all of them are trying, but some of them have scaled really big, right? So, for example, Rihanna,
Yeah.
$1 billion company.
Absolutely.
Kylie.
Yes.
So, what is it that they have done differently?
They have captured
The global audience.
So basically, I'll tell you something. They have a brand equity, like I said, right? Rihanna, Kylie, all these, they have very strong brand equity.
Yeah.
And one thing, if you see common between all these brands, including Indian brands, one thing common is influencer. Today's influencer marketing budgets is skyrocket.
Yeah.
Skyrocket.
Crazy, yeah.
Crazy. Nobody wants to spend 1 CR on a celebrity. They want to spend 5 CR on influencer month on month.
Yeah, that's what probably all these celebs have realized, and now they have to become their own influencer.
So today, the doom scrolling culture is very big.
Yeah.
Doom scrolling is just sitting and keep on going on scrolling. The target for brands today, which are growing heavily, you know what it is? Every 5th reel, your brand should pop up. Are you doing that? When a person, if a young consumer, if I am 18 and if I am doom scrolling, and if the 5th reel again and again if that product is not coming, it means I'm doing something grossly wrong today to capture the young audience.
So, coming to the back end of all this, which is running a company, you're the CEO, you manage the business.
Yes.
How big is the team?
So, Earthrism got recently acquired by Nykaa.
Okay.
And we have now merged with Nykaa, and Nykaa has taken over a lot of they're doing a lot of heavy lifting in running the business for us.
Okay.
So I'm still the CEO. I run the company, and the entire. So my forte lies in product building. I'm very strong with product.
Okay.
So I still,
You focus there.
focus on innovation and building new products for Nykaa, while I let Nykaa help me in scale the business. So
Okay.
that's the merger that we did recently.
So if Nykaa has totally acquired, what is your plan? Are you exiting? What is the...
Eventually, every founder has to exit at some point.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, I still will stay in the company for the next couple of years. I
Okay.
will be having a gradual exit with Nykaa. But as on date, I think the path to full control is coming in through Nykaa. So I think in the next 3 to 5 years, I think I should be finding my way to probably get out and figure out the next goal.
Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, Harini, I have a question now that you've talked about your exit. Uh, are you exiting too early? What do you think about it? Why did you decide to exit so early in the game? You could have scaled it in a much bigger, at a much bigger level.
I think exit is inevitable for founders. Let's be honest about it. I think today, young brands, nobody wants to build brands and sit. Legacy businesses are gone are the days. Today's young founders, they will exit at some point of time. The question is not why, it's when. That's the most important thing. So every founder's journey is different. Like any normal founder, I've had my own fair shares of ups and downs in building Earth Rhythm. There have been some good moments. There have been some big mistakes that I have made while building, because first generation entrepreneur. So a lot of decisions that I have taken, some have worked in favor, some haven't worked in favor. Now when you're trying to build a business, there comes a point where, do you want to do this, continue doing this, or do you want to get a partner on board who will help you achieve this goal? I think taking that right call at the right time is more important. I think for Earth Rhythm, I had already reached that stage where I felt that, I was at a crossroad where to scale further, I would need a stronger partner who would come on board to help us scale. And I think that's where the decision came that, it's better to have a partner and help us scale faster rather than burning more money and letting the brand die. So it's a choice that every founder needs to make. So the question is not why, it's when you take that call.
Okay. So if somebody is in that journey, what do you suggest them?
So if you are in a situation, my honest advice to any business, or even if I do another venture, would be do not dilute in the first couple of years of your business. One mistake that I did was raising capital too early. When I was fully profitable, when my company didn't need money, it was a status symbol. So the point is, a lot of young brands, they get into the rat race of raising money because getting funded becomes a statement in their startup ecosystem. But the real statement is brands like Minimalist, who survived without raising funding till the last moment. They were majority in the company. Till the time they sold to Unilever, they were majority in the company. I think that's far more powerful than diluting much early. So my advice will always be that if you're running a business, even if your scale is smaller, if you are profitable, if you are surviving, if you are moving forward, do not dilute. You should dilute when you feel that, okay, now I've reached a certain stage, let's say 20 CR, 30 CR revenue, or, revenue. And now I feel that, if I dilute, I'll be diluting, let's say only 5% or say 7% in the company. It's still okay. But if you dilute when you are at a 2-3 CR stage, you will be diluting at a 20-25%, which is a lot in the beginning.
It's a lot. I totally agree. Great. So now I have a few quick questions, like rapid fire. One idol in the business world you look up to?
I never had idols, but I always believed in philosophies that Steve Jobs used to talk about. So I think I resonate a lot of my thought process and working style with Steve Jobs. I think he would be my idol.
Okay. And one quote that you read somewhere or somebody told you that has stayed with you?
I think one thing which I genuinely read, heard, and also felt it in my journey is choose your investors wisely.
Okay.
Choose your partner wisely. Your co-founder and your investors are two set of people whom even your real husband you can divorce, but you cannot divorce your investor or your
Yeah.
co-founder, because in
Yeah.
getting these two people out means breaking your own company.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a very important decision, and I think you really need to spend time. And that's something, a big learning.
So what does Harini love to do when she's not working?
I'm a amateur cyclist.
Okay.
I've done quite a lot of.
Gurgaon, you cycle. I hope you're careful on the road.
I mean, we've had our own fair shares,
Yeah,
but
it's a city
I
of.
do a lot of long distance cycling.
Okay.
So I did India Gate to Gateway of India on cycle. I did Manali to Leh on cycle.
Oh, interesting.
So a lot of long distance cycling. So whenever I get time, I do a lot of cycling. That's something that keeps me going.
Okay. So we'll talk about your next journey when you start that. Abhi to you have to spend
Long
3
way to
years.
go.
Long way to go. But I would like you to give some advice to the audience who's looking at you. You've had a very colorful, interesting life where you started as a banker, then you took a break and you were taking care of your family, and then you started from your kitchen, and now you've built a company which is getting acquired by Nikon. It's
Yeah.
quite a journey.
Yeah.
So, someone who is sitting on the fence and wondering if one needs to jump on entrepreneurship or shall I stay safe in my job, what are the 3 things that you would like to tell them?
I always tell people that when these days when I see people, I've started figuring out whether they'll become an entrepreneur or not just by their nature, right?
Okay.
I think taking risk is one of the biggest trait that you need to have, because honestly speaking, entrepreneurship is full of a journey where you don't know what actually is going to come next. So you really need to have appetite for risk taking to be a successful entrepreneur. For me, the 2 or 3 biggest advices that I would tell people is, along the way, invest in people. It's very critical, and you will not know how important it is to build and invest in your own set of team and people along the journey, because this journey gets lonely as you keep going inside. As you keep getting a team of 10, team of 50, team of 100, the journey gets lonelier.
Yeah.
So having the right set of people around you is very important, and do that early on so that you always have someone to,
Fall back to.
Yes, that would be my only biggest advice.
Perfect. Such a pleasure to meet you, Harini. We learned a lot from you. Thank you so much.
No worries.